If you're like me, you've been spending pretty much all of your free time playing Monster Hunter Wilds over the last couple of days. I've already done a short video about some of my first impressions for the game, and in that video I mentioned that the game is stupidly easy. Well, now I'm here to tell you it gets a lot better as soon as you reach high rank. Although veterans like myself will still be missing any actual challenge, but you know, it does at least feel like you have to actually pay attention. Now that I'm basically just grinding materials to craft every single switch axe in the game, as well as grinding for armor spheres and relics, I have a lot more time to think about the actual monsters I'm actively driving to extinction. Also, now that I have fought every single monster in the game, as well as their tempered and if applicable frenzied variants, I can proudly say that a couple of those fights really stood out to me. Before we begin in earnest, here are some honorable mentions. A Jarakan. It's a big angry flaming monkey, of course the fight is awesome. Shu Wu. One of the two cephalopod monsters in this game, and for me this is the coolest one. It's basically a ninja octopus. And Guardian Rathalos. Not only is this Rathalos, which is always a great fight, but the Wilk powers really elevate this fight in my opinion. Now without further ado, let me present to you my favorite fights in Monster Hunter Wilds so far. Since I didn't spoil myself at all before the game came out, this monster was a total surprise for me. Fighting Gore for the first time in Wilds was a glorious endeavor. The slow build-up while hunting the various infected monsters really made for a satisfying climax whenever Gore actually showed up. And let me tell you, the fight is awesome. The fight is as intense as ever and you really feel like you could faint at any point. Of course, for many of us veterans, the difficulty of the game isn't where it should be, but still at high rank the fights feel difficult. Not being prepared or even underestimating Gore can send you back to base camp in no time. Duking it out with Gore while weaving around its attacks has been some of the best fun I've had in this game. His moveset can catch you off guard with delayed explosions, and some of his moves can reach you in spots where you actually felt safe. I can't wait to fight his evolved form whenever G-Rank comes out, cause that is going to be a marvelous experience. And I'm sure Capcom will up the ante on challenge for G-Rank as well, and that hypes me up even more. If you are enjoying the video this far, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more Monster Hunter content. I work hard to produce these videos for you guys and I'd really appreciate your support. Now, enough talk, let's continue on with the video. So, Story Arkveld was a huge letdown for me personally. He was made out to be this ecosystem destroying menace that drains you of your life force, but ended up being just another blip on the radar on the way to high rank. But let me tell you, as soon as you get to fight Arkveld, and especially Tempered Arkveld in high rank, it turns into one of the most badass fights in the whole game. While he's still pretty easy to beat if you know what you're doing, the fight itself becomes a lot more interesting. Not only do his attacks hit like a truck, but you also have to start planning your route around his attacks to maximize your own damage output. Being a Switch Axe main, this fight really had me shaking in my boots whenever I dedicated myself to an elemental discharge. Because he just won't stand still for even a single moment. That, coupled with his badass chainblade attacks, made for an awesome fight if you ask me. So far, Tempered Arkveld is also the highest difficulty fight you'll find in this game. But for me, there are two fights that are even cooler than this one, just based on feel alone. Now, Jindahad is one of those monsters that shows up every now and again, allowing you to take on the quest for a limited time. And every time a Jindahad shows up, I fight him until the quest isn't available anymore. Not just because you get tons of materials that can be turned into tons of armor spheres, but also because I love fighting this huge popsicle so much. The fight plays out in a multi-stage arena that is chock full of opportunities to use the environment for knockdowns and extra damage. Also, systematically destroying Jin's heat-regulating spines is super fun. And while the fight itself isn't challenging at all, it is still a spectacle every single time. Making Jin crash down to the ground by activating these pillars he climbs on is so damn satisfying, and running for cover during his nuke attack really makes you clench your butthole, especially if you haven't been using the large ice blocks around the arenas, because those actually create the cover you have to hide behind. I just enjoy this fight a lot, and while it's not the most intense and fast-paced fight in the game, it's still a truckload of fun, and I look forward to fighting Jin every time he becomes available. This is simultaneously my favorite new monster design and my favorite fight in the game so far. Ray Dao really knocks it out of the park for me because, man, for being a flying wyvern, this fight is really something different for once. Ray Dao is able to charge up lightning element and discharge it in either quick bursts or by building up a surge so strong it can almost one-shot you. My favorite and probably also the coolest move I've ever seen any monster do so far is when Ray Dao takes to the sky and basically tries to pull a drive-by on you. This guy flies by and drags his huge wing talons across the ground, trying to give you the Sasuke Chidori special. To fight Ray Dao efficiently, you really have to duck and weave his attacks without being afraid to hit back. His moveset makes it so the game feels more like a rhythm game than an action game, and somehow that really jimmies my jams. The sky is what crystallizes the style of modern Monster Hunter for me. Fast combat with precise movement required from the player, as well as having to find windows for attack, all the while dancing with this larger-than-life monster. Ray Dao is truly peak monster design for me, be it looks or combat-wise, and I can't wait to fight him in G rank. Alright, so these are my favorite fights in Monster Hunter Wilds so far. And while these picks are pretty much a given, considering the limited roster so far, they still mean something to me. I'm so excited to see what monsters we'll be able to hunt in this game in the future. Still waiting for Lagiacrus to come back to Monster Hunter, but I'm sure it will happen someday. Am I right? So what fights have you been enjoying the most so far? Tell me in the comments. Also, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more Monster Hunter content. And as always, I'll catch you in the next video. Bye bye.